now. Actually, let's do this. Now we're good to go, folks. Thanks for jumping in here. Very quickly, hi, everyone. My name's Matt from the Greatness Everyday channel / the Greatness Everyday podcast. What we are doing today is we are talking about video number 5 of our challenge, basically, that I've made to kind of myself and to the Greatness Everyday community to upload a video every single day throughout the month of November. So this is a live recording on the Monday of every week. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going ahead and uploading a live recording of the Greatness Everyday podcast. So basically what's going to happen is I need your feedback. If at any time you have any questions about what I'm talking about, whether that's on Instagram, whether that's live here on YouTube, go ahead and let me know what that question is down in the comments below, and I'll do my best. Promise that I'll do my best to answer them at the end of this episode, or follow up with a separate episode if I don't get to it. So thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate that. And the live format is a little bit different. As people are jumping on here, I see a few people jumping on. Thank you for joining us. The live format is a little bit different than a usual video that I make because it's more produced right now. I've had a very long day. Had a really good supper, went out with a friend, and ended up talking a long time. Came home, there were people visiting as well, so that was really good for me to see as well. Just spent some time talking to people that mattered to me. So that was good. What we're going to do though now is, if you have any questions, like I said, drop them down below. We're live on a couple different platforms, and it looks like there's a few people that have jumped in here and have joined us now. So let's get started. Basically, you can find our podcast on really many places that the podcasts are really broadcast. So basically, kind of the big ones, we look at Spotify, we look at Apple Podcasts, we look at Google Play Music. You can also find us on the Anchor app, which is a great podcasting platform that you can start using really easily on your own if you haven't done that yet. So really neat feature is you can, if you have a smart device of any type, you can go ahead, like Amazon Alexa, you can, or let's say Google Home, I think is the other one. You can go ahead and search up the Greatness Everyday podcast. So I'd really encourage you to do that if you have one, because they're really pretty sweet. Let's get started with today's podcast episode now that some people are here. So basically, the quote that I shared today on our Instagram page talks about you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So I'm sure you've heard that quote before. It's one that I've heard. It's one that I've never shared before until today. And you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So I want you to take a second, okay, do some reflection, reflect on the people that you have in your life, and just keep it general right now. Just kind of in general. We're not looking at 5 specific people. Just think about the people that you have in your life. Do they support you? Do they encourage you? And do they challenge you to chase your dreams or kind of follow what you want to? Are they there for you, basically? These are good things. These are what people that we have in our lives should want to do. And again, just keeping it general before you break it down into specifics. Do they support you? Do they encourage you? Do they encourage you to follow your dreams? How else do they support you? Now what I want you to do is spend some time on the specifics. List the 5 closest people that you have to you, or you can just spend some time thinking about this. Who are the 5 people in your life that you would say you are closest with? Are they friends? Are they family? Coworkers, mentors, significant others, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, anybody else? Sports teams members, who are they? And then what I want you to do is I want you to say, what things do they do that help you? So be selfish here. Think about what their role is in your life and think what things they do that helps you. Now I want you to think about what things they do on the flip side that don't help you. And I think that a lot of time what we do is we look at kind of like the positives of a relationship. And when we do look at the positives of relationship, friendship, romantic relationship, or any other thing, basically what happens is You focus on the positives, but a lot of time you don't focus on what those negative things are, or you don't focus on some of the other things that might be taking away from your time, your energy, that relationship in particular. So, what things do they do that help you? And what things do they do that don't help you? Okay, so it's important to have that realistic look from both sides and both perspectives here. And then take it even further. We're getting a little bit deeper here. What would it look like if your closest five, like the average of the five people you spend with, what would it look like if the closest five they were not in your life? How would it change? And then I'm going to ask you a little bit more specifically, how would it be better if those people weren't in your life anymore, or maybe one or two of them in particular? And then how would it be worse if they weren't in your life? So these are a lot of questions I'm throwing at you very quickly today here on Instagram, here on YouTube as well. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Basically, these are some questions. I want you to think about the people that you have in your life. You're supposed to be, they say, the average of the five people that are closest to you. I've gone through today and I've thought about that, kind of thinking who's in my life, in what capacity are they in my life, and really kind of, do they deserve the attention that I give them? And on the flip side, if somebody else is thinking about me in their life, would I get the attention that they deserve? All right. So, questions to think about today. I hope you really enjoyed listening to this podcast episode. These questions and your responses are very important, but I don't want you to just leave it there. Okay. If there are people in your life that do make a huge difference, I'm going to ask you today, how can you say thank you to them? Maybe it's by writing a quick message to them and sending it to them. Maybe it's by sending them flowers if you're into that thing. Maybe it's by going out and say, hey, let's go out for supper this night, and you take them out for supper. So how can you say thank you to the people in your life that do make a difference in yours? And then on the other hand, if there are people in your life that don't contribute a lot, or maybe they even take away, they take your time, they take your energy, they take your resources, they take your mind off the things that it should be focusing on. I'll ask you, how can you make a difference in their life? And then if you've tried and you've continuously tried and you've drained your energy, and the people just don't want to help themselves, they don't work for it, and it's something that happens continuously and they ignore you and they disregard your efforts, I'm going to ask you this question. Maybe you need to think about this because it's difficult. Is how can you replace these people with somebody who's better? Maybe that's looking at a different friendship. Maybe that's looking at maybe a professional relationship with somebody. Maybe that's looking at a romantic relationship, or maybe that's looking at just kind of bringing somebody on that's a mentor to you, that's an expert in whatever area of your life that you want to improve on. So go ahead and think about those questions. There's a lot of questions. Rewatch this video and use it as an education tool. These are some questions that I went through today. Just thinking about how we are the average of the five people that we spend our time with. And just thinking about some of those things and how they tie into the day-to-day and how they tie into ultimately living your greatest life. So these questions are for me to ask, for you to answer, and ultimately for you to decide whether to act on them or not. All right. So that is video 5 of our November challenge, where we're uploading 30 videos in 30 days. We've gone 5 for 5 for the first few. So that's great. We're 1/6 in, and I'm excited to see how the rest of the videos go. If you haven't seen those other videos, I'd highly recommend you do that. My personal favorite is one that I looked at talking about, and it's kind of just discussing the idea of purpose versus passions and how those tie into our lives and living our greatest lives possible. I want to say thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please click thumbs up. And at the same time, if you agree or you don't agree with that quote that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on that. And I'd love to hear more from you there. Don't see any comments, don't see any questions. I'm going to go back through and check live on YouTube. And if not, I want to say thank you very much for everybody that watched. and hope you have a great week ahead, and we'll see you tomorrow with another video.